is it? Hello.
And we're recording.
Beautiful. Sounds good.
Yeah. Welcome, Alethia.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrew, for having me.
Singer, songwriter.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Oh my God. What type of music do you produce?
Well, I do a little bit of everything, really.
Okay.
I always say it's like music that just resonates with me. So
Yeah.
I think like my constant thing is change in music. So all the time I'm just experimenting with different genres and rhythms. I would say perhaps like the thing that I love the most would be, or the genre that I love the most would be maybe reggae or R&B. But I love to put a little bit of Latino here and there and just electronic sounds and just, try it all. Have fun with it.
Hang on. Electronic sounds. Does that mean you've got a looper?
I don't actually. I don't have. Well, I do have a looper. I don't use it really, not much. But when I'm producing, I work with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
I usually don't work just by myself because I found that in my case it was a little bit overwhelming doing like everything and trying to take all the decisions.
Yeah.
While when I started to work with someone else, with different producers, I had a lot of fun and I love to have like a different perception of what I'm doing as well. So yeah.
And so, what kind of how do you find inspiration in the music that you produce?
I would say probably just life, like my own experiences most of the time. Just things that I feel I have to kind of like take out of me and share, or emotional things. I'm very emotional, so I have to put it there to feel better, I guess, as well.
Were you always emotional, like as a child, like growing up?
Maybe. I think so. That's a good question. I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember if I was emotional.
She doesn't remember.
And I know that I always been very active. I know that, and it's
as in like sports and stuff like that.
More
or
like
doing
it's like
things?
doing things.
Okay,
Like I just want to do it all and all the time. Like use my time to do something. So I remember my father always saying to me like, "Oh, what is your like turn off button?" Because he always wanted like me to be a little bit more like chill sometimes.
Where's your turn off button?
Yeah, pretty much. Because
Wow.
I was like, okay, so now what? Like, what are we gonna do after? Or like, or if I, if I had like when I start to do gigs and things back home in Colombia, I was like, oh, can you take me this? Can you take me there?
I was going to say, where's the accent? So it's Colombia.
Yeah, Colombian. Yeah.
And were your parents ever like creative?
Yes.
Oh, they are.
I'm really grateful. I think to experience that.
So you can blame them for the off button not being turned on.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm really grateful to have experienced that at home. My father is very musical as well, so there was always music at home. He's a painter and a sculptor, and also plays music more like for pleasure, I would say, not professionally.
As a hobby.
As a hobby, yes. And my mom as well paints. And it's very artistic. My family, brothers as well, play music. So yeah.
How many brothers?
2.
Older, younger?
One older, one younger.
Oh, so you're middle child.
I know. Yeah. You too?
We have middle child syndrome.
Mm.
Yeah. Some would say that it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But only a middle child would say that.
Probably. Why do you say that? Or what do you think?
Because we had the opportunity to see our older sibling.
Like the mistakes of our older siblings.
Mistakes. Yeah. And they were always the one getting the harsher discipline.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, well, we won't do that or stuff like that. And then because we were alive before our younger one, we kind of like got the little bit of spoil and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then
True.
But then with the younger one being born, you kind of, I don't know, I guess like I appreciate the spoiltness and like, ooh, like that's not good. So that's why I say it's like the best of both worlds. only a middle child would say that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that our siblings would be like, nah, it's the worst. Ours is the best.
True.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm happy to have them both in my life.
Mm.
Yeah, they both teach me. Still, I guess they will always will teach me things, but yeah,
Mm.
it's beautiful to learn from both of them. My brother, actually, the oldest, is living with me at the moment.
Oh, okay.
He's here in Australia with
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And the other one is just back home. But just having him again, like very close to me, it's been teaching me so much. I'm like, oh my God, like
Mm.
sometimes I can get very lost in my own world and just doing, my projects and blah.
I think it's easy as a creative to get lost in your own world,
Yeah, yeah,
and you
yeah.
can't. I don't know. It's like you kind of like get fixated on
Absolutely.
like what you're doing,
Yeah.
and it's up to us to ensure that we kind of like take a step out first, like every now and then, and kind of like look
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
land.
I would say like I feel that I'm nowadays I'm much better at kind of like trying to balance that out. But it's
Mm.
still there's so much I need to keep learning and improve with
Mm.
with trying to balance better my work and life and just being more present. Sometimes I find myself like, oh, like I'm
How do you
there,
do
but I'm
that
just
though?
thinking about that.
How do you become more present?
I think like with feeling grateful. So for
Mm.
example, if we are sitting right now, I'm like, oh, I'm grateful that like I'm alive, that we can talk, and I try to kind of like forget about time really. Because if I started thinking about, oh, but it's like 11, oh, but I need to go after blah blah blah, like, oh, but I haven't posted this and I haven't recorded that and I need to send this master or whatever, then I start to not being present and not enjoy this.
Mm.
So I nowadays here and there I try to check on like, oh, how I'm feeling. Am I really like being present, or I'm just like passing by
Mm.
and like not really connecting? And I
Mm.
think like for who I am now, it's really important, or for the Alethia now, it's really important to connect with people like in a genuine way. No,
Mm.
like, oh, hello, how are you? Yeah, good. Oh, nice. Bye. I feel that I want more meaningful,
Yeah.
conversations.
I think it's so I agree.
Yeah.
I want more meaningful
Mm.
conversations. I don't want like surface level,
Yeah.
but I can also understand why people would just want to stay surface because they potentially either are going through
Yeah.
something or they don't know how to express themselves,
Mm.
and I think we're in a stage right now where it's easy to be distracted, or it's easy to have a long list of things that you need to do
Mm.
that you just can't get to, and so it's this like balancing act between being conscious about being present,
Yeah.
but also being action orientated with all these other things that need to be done.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
balance, the effectiveness of what you do is how you do the balancing.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I
Mm.
think like if you are efficient with your work and the way you use your time,
Mm.
then you are not gonna be like worried or like perhaps like
Mm.
thinking all the time of like, oh, what is next and stuff, because you have a little bit more organized, like a better system where
Mm.
like, oh, this is what I need to do, I guess maybe in the month, and it's like try to divide those different
Are you
goals and things.
are you a planner?
Uh,
Do you like to plan?
Yeah, I like to plan. Yeah, although I'm really spontaneous. Like, like honestly, maybe some people don't like that much, but I'm really like that. I don't plan for a lot of stuff that sometimes I'm like, maybe I should, like trips and
Mm.
things like that. I'm like, oh, why
Mm.
wouldn't go like tomorrow?
Mm.
And I like that. But yeah, sometimes with that, it's also important to plan because it
Yeah.
gets cheaper than to travel, and also perhaps like your experience will be like even like I don't know, like you can like take the juice of that experience even to a deeper level because you will have time to. Oh, previously you had time to know like, oh, these places are gonna be around where you're going, so
Mm,
let's go to all of that and plan
mm,
ahead.
mm.
But yeah, it's
I'm
kind of funny.
I'm a little bit the same in that I like to be spontaneous, but then I also know that if I plan things out, then like things will go really well.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I think with my work stuff, I'm definitely a planner
Mm,
because I feel like if I don't plan and if I don't put myself goals, then it's really hard to know where to go next.
mm,
But with life, I'm a little bit more spontaneous. Although lately I've been thinking like, oh, I need to plan as well for my life because I want to know to be truly happy. And I think like
mm,
that's the thing that is being like really constant lately in my head because uh although I feel like I'm a happy person,
mm,
lately and in times where things get like rough or there's a lot of stuff to do, I start to feel like I'm not like happy with where I am right now. And
mm,
perhaps it's like just a perception, because you want the goal already and you are thinking about the future and like, oh, I'm gonna be there. But if we are just like looking at the goal and we are not looking at what's happening in here,
mm,
then you don't enjoy and you're always waiting for it being there. And
mm,
then like when you are there, you're gonna be thinking about the next, the next goal and the next thing, and you are not enjoying it. So I'm trying to remind myself of enjoying that step by step, and makes life kind of like more friendly for me.
mm.
Yeah.
It is, and I've realized this as well. Like it's okay to have goals,
Yeah.
and like goals, I think serve a purpose for like pointing our direction
Yeah.
on where we go.
Mm.
But where,
Like the GPS kind of.
yeah, like the GPS, right? But where potentially some people may fall over is that the the pointing and the location just seems so far away,
Yeah.
and so then they kind of like they're constantly changing direction, and then it feels like they're not
Yeah,
really
because it
like
feels perhaps too hard as well. It's like, oh,
yeah,
but
yeah,
how I'm gonna get there now?
yeah,
Maybe it's easier to do this and that and
yeah. And
yeah.
then there's the piece around like if they're very logically minded, like that's why they're like, oh, it's too far away. So then they keep switching and stuff. And
Mm.
like, that's okay. But then I think through my experience, and I constantly have to keep checking this, but I ensure that I enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you enjoy the journey, you'll get to the destination regardless,
Yeah.
and you'll make sure that you have fun doing it and it's
Absolutely.
more enjoyable,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's gonna be more meaningful because then like every person you met in your
Mm,
way is gonna have like an impact and perhaps gonna bring you something. It's kind of like, well, life is an adventure. So it's kind of like as if you were playing this video game in a way, and you have to go through meeting all these different people to find a new like, a new idea, or to find a new I don't know, maybe a faster way to go somewhere else that you wanted to go, and you thought
mm,
like maybe you had to go all this way, but then someone says, oh, hey,
mm.
no, like actually I went here and like it's there, and you're like, oh my god.
Life is an adventure.
Absolutely. And
Holy shit.
like people bring different knowledge to our life,
Mm,
and yeah, when we are then present, then we can like see, oh yeah, like this person is doing this, maybe I can do it as well, and like it's helpful, instead of like being just thinking, oh, they are so way ahead of me, like it's just too hard, like I maybe not strong enough, or maybe not capable of doing it.
I think you have to be open to the idea of accepting other people's like perspectives or other people's approaches.
Mm.
Because I get that some like this is hard for people based on your
It's hard for all of us, I
life
think, for everyone.
experience, based on your upbringing, based
Mm.
on all this type of stuff, based on like expectations that have been put on you and all this, right? Sometimes it's hard for people to go, I'm gonna keep open and let whatever the universe throws at me so that I can have some advantage in making the best out of this present moment. You know, like
because I think perhaps it is because sometimes it could feel like giving up, you know, like, oh, you know what, like, fuck it, sorry. So it's like, oh, whatever. And I think it's slightly different, you know, it's kind of like a line in between. So it's like, you can, instead of like, it's not like you don't care. It's more like, oh, I care. I'm doing my part. And then I trust and I let myself like just flow with what is coming, you know, like knowing that it's going to be a good outcome and thinking that way. So whatever we experience, even though it's hard, we know deep in our heart, like, oh, it's actually for a good reason. And I'm learning from here. So I know that the next thing is going to be a good thing and perhaps a better experience and a better just, a better opportunity to keep going.
How long have you been in Australia?
It's been 6 years, maybe.
6
and
years?
A half. Yeah, 6 years and a half.
You've been here a while.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels a lot. Sometimes it feels not that long. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
COVID as well, you know, it's kind of like, I feel like
that time period.
Yeah, it's like I was
like
taken like 2 years, but at the same time, I also grow so much through that. So like,
I think it's interesting how we're still talking about it. I think we'll be talking about it for a while, but I think we are still talking about it because there are still people who are dealing with the PTSD or the ramifications of what happened. And I think you can either see it as a bad time period, or you can see it as a positive time period.
Absolutely.
Actually, regardless of the situation that you were in, I think it's always going to be a positive experience because of it gave us an opportunity to like learn a little bit more about ourselves. Yeah, we were like most locked down city in the world. Like my best mate passed away like, due to the vaccine and like all this type of stuff. Yeah. But I think it showed us resilience.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we didn't die. And it showed us that, you know, there are other ways to work. You can work from home.
Yeah.
Or you can start a new business that can be successful or whatever, yeah?
Yeah, it definitely like move our kind of floor. And like in my situation, I felt that perhaps I was like planning like really, really differently, and my goals and things were really, really different back then than like when I went through it. And perhaps for a lot of people was the same, but for me, I experienced depression, and that was crazy because I never thought I was gonna experience that. Like honestly, I always been like super positive, and I'm honestly like every person that I met or every person that knows me close, they know how positive I am. I'm super positive. Sometimes like how I do it, but it's like I have that hope, and like I know that we can be better, and I know we deserve it all, you know, like, and if we act from love, then like the best things are gonna come from us. So I like to be in that vibrational kind of thing. But through COVID,
so you've always been like that?
Yeah. Always. But then through COVID, I experienced depression. And I'm not sure if it was because it was COVID that also helped through that, but I experienced the hardest time of my life. It was like insane. I literally at the point I thought like, wow, like now I can understand why even someone could like take their lives, you know, like, and not want to continue. Because when we just see, you know, like the hard time, and we're just seeing our pain, and we just are in that dark place.
Do you want a drink? I've only got one.
Okay, yeah. I actually never drink this energy things.
Do you want me to get some glasses
but
and we can share it?
Maybe, yeah, that would be good.
Okay,
because a little bit too much energy, and I'm quite energetic.
You're too energetic.
Yeah, yes. That's why I think I don't drink coffee much and
Oh,
all those things.
hang on, but
Even though I love it,
Colombia
I
has
know.
great coffee.
I know, I know. I love coffee and I used to drink so much.
Oh, you used to?
Yeah, but now it's like here and there. When I feel like, oh, I really, really, really want a coffee, then I have a little one. And most of the time my partner ends up like drinking the rest of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think it is, yeah, honestly, because I have a lot of energy. And I was like, still my father is looking for that button. I don't think he will never find it.
It's not a bad thing. Cheers.
Tears.
I don't think it's definitely a bad thing.
No, I don't think so either. I think keeps me moving. Yeah. What I was saying, I got lost.
That's okay.
I think yeah, I was saying that I'm quite positive, and then I went through that period and I really experienced a hard time, and that I understood there back then, like, oh, how it's like, you know, it feels to be in this position, and I truly believe that I needed to experience that to put it into my music and to reconnect with myself and to find meaning. I realized that I wasn't like happy because I didn't have a purpose. I knew from when I was really, really young that I wanted to become a musician and I wanted to do acting and all these things. But
How young were you?
like really young, like
5,
7, 5.
7.
Yeah, like really, really young, really young. But then it fell at some point in my journey, just something that it was like part of me. So I was just doing it because of it and
What
not
do you
enjoying
mean
it.
you felt like it was just part of you?
I think like it defined me for a long time. You know, my mom, my dad, and my brothers, everyone were like knew that I was a singer and a performer. And that was like part of my identity. So I always needed to be like good, be the example, be shining and all this. And it felt as well at some time like a burden, like a burden.
A burden.
A burden, yeah.
Why?
Because I needed them to be this perfect, you know, kind of like example and this perfect like woman. So like people were like, oh yeah, you know, like kind of like waiting for how you call it, like a approval, you know, because I feel that that's what I needed to be doing. So then at some point I was like, hey, I'm not enjoying this. And through COVID, I was like, what's going on? Maybe I should not be a musician. Maybe I should not be doing arts. Like, what am I doing it for? Like, is it truly because I like it, or because my father likes it, or because my mom likes it, or because my friends, you know, like.
Or because you like the attention.
Yeah. So
like
I was
a
like, oh
whole
my God, like
bunch of
this feels
things.
so wrong. So I was like, no, I want just somehow come back to me. And then I remember like having like a little diary, and I started to write like things, like very silly things, to help me kind of like get through who I was really. I was like, what I like I love chocolate, like literally, I love chocolate. I hate onion, things like that. And I was like, no way, I love music so much. So let's see how it goes. But then like kind of stop things. Thanks God it stopped everything there. So there was no, you know, like no ways to go and perform and stuff. So I was like all the time at home. I still was using, you know, like Instagram Live and all that stuff because I feel that I needed to survive. But then I was
You needed
like,
a creative outlet.
exactly. But then I was like, no, I'm just going to do it when I feel it. And I start to reconnect with the enjoyment. And then like something happened that kind of like, it was like a change in my head, like a chip. And I was like, oh my God, now I know why I want to do music. And I feel that music, it's like heal me. So then I realized like, oh, maybe if I share the songs that have been like helping me and putting, you know, my energy there, maybe they're gonna resonate with someone. And if they maybe move just one person, then perhaps that person will get to a better state, and maybe they will truly believe, oh no, maybe I can do it as well. Or oh no, I just don't want to be working in this 9 to 5 job, so I just want to do what I love, that is cooking, or you know, like whatever it is that we want to do and whatever we are passionate about. So then I was like, wow, like this is why I want to make music. Not because I want to be on the stage. I love to be on the stage, and everyone that knows me knows that. But it is because a bigger purpose. And when I saw that and when I connect with that, it feels so like peaceful, and like I felt like, oh, like I can kind of like rest a little bit, because I was like, I don't know, like just going through life without north and like without direction. And then after that, it's the journey. I guess I kind of like, oh, it's like the map is like, oh no, let's like reposition ourselves. And then like I found that everything can be more beautiful and more meaningful.
That's really good. I think, obviously during that time period, there was a lot of like internalization.
Yeah, absolutely.
With people.
I think we all need it.
You can either use that internalization to, again, like propel yourself forward, or like just keep digging your hole that you like lay in.
Yeah.
It sounds like for you, it was an internalization to then reconnection or a reappreciation for why you love music.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that shows a lot of like great characteristics of you as an individual and a musician. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it definitely make an impact in what I wanted to create after, And then like after through COVID, I was finishing a master, and this master that I was doing, yeah, I know, was pretty crazy. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna
master's in what?
In creative industries.
Oh
So I was like, I need to stop. Yeah. So I decided to stop for like 6 months.
So,
and then I came back to it.
At Monash or?
No, it was at JMC Academy. Yeah,
right.
yeah. Where I actually did performance before that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was even harder because I was like, fuck, I need to finish this master. And also I felt like even more pressure because when you come as a student to Australia, then you have to study, and like, that's like, like it's my visa situation and all that stuff. Was like, what I'm gonna do. And
she's not an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, no. Just so you know, I finished my studies like 2 years ago. Yeah.
You didn't want to use your studies to like do something?
Oh my God. Like that's, I think, the question that a lot of people ask me. And I'm like, maybe, like, I just don't want to do it because it feels the thing to do in a way.
Right.
Yeah, like my mom, if my mom was listening to this, she would be like, oh, like you should be like working at a university, and teaching, and like you have so much to bring and blah, blah, blah. And like you will get paid really well and stuff. And it kind of like kills a little bit my heart because it's not what I want to do. Like I did it at the beginning, and I'm going to be really honest here, because it was something that I needed to do, like I finished my music course that I wanted to do. And it was what brought me here. But then because I wanted to continue in Australia, I needed to do something else. And then like people were like, oh, you should maybe do a master because then you can stay longer. And I was like, maybe, because I need to study. So I was like, okay, let's find a master that can help me somehow. So then I found this one that was creative. So I was like, okay, so maybe I can do something creative here. And I decided to write an album. And I think like that was really good. And
during COVID, you wrote an album.
Yeah, not all the songs. So it was like a collection of different songs. But yeah, a lot of the songs from the album were written through COVID. And yeah, so I was doing like the master. So I think like that was pretty intense because, it was online. So it was like crazy, like so much stuff to research and no contact at all with classmates and things, like I was like awkward.
It was actually really quite phenomenal that we kind of like got through that period.
I know.
I think if you got through that period, and
you're still here.
And you're still here, like you're winning.
You can do anything. Like really, if we did that honestly, we can
she said it here, anything. You can do anything.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like I'm really grateful honestly that I did a master because I met beautiful people and like I did the album that I wanted to do, and it was
Mm.
like 2 years pretty much just exploring musically and exploring about healing, because I wanted to talk about this on the album as well, and like find a
Mm.
way to do it through me, not like kind of like weird and like, oh, let's talk about like science. No, genuine. So it helped, I guess, to the creation of this project, and perhaps meant to, like, it needed to be that way. I don't know.
What do you mean by you want to help people through like healing?
So yeah, because after I found that connection, I was a little bit like obsessed. I was like, oh, I feel like there's a reason for me to be here. So and I felt that it was that, like, it was healing somehow, like some shape or form, like healing. So that's why even like when I saw your podcast, I was like, oh, I just want to talk, because I love to talk about this. Like, gives me energy and reminds me of what I want to do, and reminds me that I'm human, and no matter in which stage I am at with my own journey, I can like always check on me and say like, hey, like maybe I'm going in this way and I'm not enjoying what's going on, and continue to find a better route.
That camera has stopped recording for some reason, so just hang on.
Oh,
and
good.
and I'll go to the toilet again.
Oh, good.
I drank so much water.
Your cat is there.
And we're back. Yeah, I definitely think the process of continually talking about things is healing. It's cathartic. We go through life and we have like all these voices in our heads, and this like good person and this evil person, and there's always like that they're challenging each other. And so the way around working through those two voices is to actually use your own voice and to actually like talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's interesting for me is like with this podcast, I find this whole process very healing and very cathartic for myself, because I'm learning about someone else, but I'm also able to tap in and express particular points of view that I understand,
and that you resonate with.
Yeah, and that I resonate with, and then we can kind of, like the way I see it is, like not everybody's going to take or agree with the same approach, and that's okay. How do I improve in my understanding of life when I'm only living a particular pathway of life myself? In order for me to appreciate life even more, I have to talk to other people about life. And I have to talk about their experience and their perspective. So then it gives you this greater understanding and appreciation of humans and what we're trying to do, and, like lots of different things.
Yeah. I really resonate with what you said as well. Because, I mean, we all live like these crazy journeys. And I always said, like, it's kind of like we all need to live in a way. No, it's that it is like that, but I kind of feel this. We all need to live like very similar things in really different times, kind of. So it's like, oh, in my journey, like I will have to experience all this stuff, and then like I experience that. So when you experience that, you're like, oh yeah, I also experienced that, and like I learned this and that. But maybe your outcome was something different. You learned something really different of what I needed to learn. But there's so many different things in this journey, and at the end of the day, I think like the crazy thing is like it's all about like finding happiness. Which is like, it sounds like really cheesy and really, kind of like easy, but it's the hardest thing. It's like, that's the hardest thing. I really, really want to be happy. And I think like the constant work that I'm doing with myself is about finding the way to be every day a little bit closer to be more happy, to be happier and happier, because and it's not like, oh, I'm not gonna allow them to express like how I'm feeling, and repress those things. But it's about, I guess,
Just push them
understanding.
down. We don't want to hear
Yeah,
about
exactly.
them.
I don't think it's like exactly, which we do, and I sometimes do as well.
Mm.
And it's like, no, like, let's bring them here. I'm experiencing this. Oh yeah, maybe it is because of this, and reflect a little bit.
Mm.
But yeah, ultimately, I want to be happy, and I think we all want that. And
Mm.
there's so much
I
pain and
think
so
that's the
much,
goal.
yeah, and it's so much, pain, and so many hard things that happen in this crazy world,
Mm.
that kind of like try to make us even like more like far away from being
Mm.
happy, or that wants to kind of like distract us from like finding that way to, yeah, to just be through wholly we meant to be here.
Mm.
I talking about this, an idea came to my mind that I've been um with like carrying lately, and is this idea of embracing who am I, at all times. So I feel like the more I'm me, and the more I allow myself to experience things my way, then the happier I am. And every time that I'm stopping myself of being me, and like do things Alethia will do, then I'm not happy, because I'm stopping my true self, my inner self, my child, of
Mm.
like doing the things that want to do. And yeah, and it's kind of interesting, because sometimes it's like, wait, is that coming from ego, or is that coming from actual my inner child telling me, no, like, trust and be yourself, you know?
Mm. So much to unpack from that.
I know.
I think I think sometimes it's hard to acknowledge whether or not it is your ego,
Yeah.
or whether or not you are being your true self.
Mm.
And then sometimes the ego will say to
Take
you,
over.
yeah, that like they'll
The evil.
the evil ego will say to you, you're being an imposter.
Yeah.
You're not being your true self, because that's not you.
Mm.
But in actual fact, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And like, you're okay to change who you are at any given time.
Absolutely. We are changing all the time.
Yeah, we're changing all the time. Like, at any given time, there's like thousands and thousands of processes that your body is going through and like changing, and like you wouldn't necessarily be aware, but it is what's happening. And then, being present and allowing yourself to control, I guess, your like thought processes and your understanding of things. Because as you were saying, as you were like doing that dialogue, then I was thinking about people's expectations on you, and like potentially like you feel like, or you're having to do something because it'll make some other person happy, right?
Yeah.
And like you would either do that from an ego point of view, or you would do that because that's the expectation that's put on you. The flip side is that if you really wanted to do it, then that's what you would do.
Yeah.
And it is all about like perspective,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that as well. Yeah. I think I was gonna mention something, and I think it just is gone now. What it was? Oh my god! No, it will come back to me.
And then I think also like the advancements that we've made, like in today's day and age, like it can be a little bit too much. Like it can be, like with social media, for example, like all the power is in the individual. You don't need like a recording agency or a recording brand or label to like put all the marketing and stuff in behind Alethia. You know, you can actually do it all yourself.
Yeah.
If that's what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then there comes a point as well where I think unless you're managing your own mental health and abilities, like it can get a little bit too much. And then it's kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that into the table because I really like to think that it's, social media is it's a really positive thing. I'm really positive, as
It's
I
a
was
tool.
mentioning before.
It's a tool.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
honestly, I've been connecting with the most amazing people through social media, which is like, it surprised me even, like every day, really. Like I just met you like randomly through, I swear I don't like much like scrolling, really. I try to avoid it every time because it makes me anxious and I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I'm wasting time. But then like now and then when I'm like, scheduling things or posting and stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a look to what my friends and what people that inspire me are doing.
Yeah.
To feel to bring more inspiration, I guess. And then I found found you, for example, and I've been like meeting a lot of the people that I've been collaborating with musically and in different projects through social media, which is incredible. But then that's the other side of the picture, is that it can be as well like detrimental for our well-being, and when we are like very like obsessed with it, you see that a lot of time is passing and you're like still like scrolling and doing stuff, and it's like, oh, and I feel like shit because you're comparing and because you're seeing all these beautiful lives and stuff, and it's like, no, that's the negative way. But I guess it's just, again, a perception, because if you see them as like, oh, this person is doing really well, that's amazing, I can do the same. It's a human. I know we all the same.
We are all the same. We all have the answers within us.
Absolutely.
It's about understanding how to, I guess, manage your own self, and manage your own thought processes. Like if you know you get obsessed, don't do something for longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll obsess about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's also one of the things that I think like that COVID period like taught me is that I do get obsessed and I do get this like,
which I think is a positive thing as well.
Yeah.
In some cases.
I definitely think it's a positive
especially
thing.
for like when you want to change maybe a habit. If you're obsessed with it, then you're gonna, I sometimes find that's something that I want even to implement more. Getting obsessed with, okay, I'm gonna do this thing of waking up at 5. I'm trying, and it didn't start well like this week because it was pretty crazy.
Why do you think waking up at 5 is a good thing?
Oh my God! Because when
What do you do
wake
at 5?
when you wake up early, everything feels right, or at least to me. Like maybe not, we are the same in that particular case. There's people that really flow in the night, but I kind of like feel like we all have like this kind of clock inside us, and when it's early, it feels so much easier to start and like, peaceful, it's quiet, the sun is coming, birds, it feels like, it's like a beautiful time to do stuff. So I really, really want to bring that more to my life, waking up like as early as I can.
I usually have 3 cats at me asking me for food.
Yeah. No, I agree. The same thing. I have to.
Yeah.
I know how that feels.
I think it's real interesting though, because look, I'm the same. Like I get up really early, and I feel like it's the best time to like have the clearest mind.
Yeah.
Because nothing is like
on your way.
Yeah, nothing is like
no one is gonna text you.
Yeah. And then I was like going to the gym and like it's like my like I don't know, kind of my kind of like approach to dealing with the demons that I have in my head. Because I have demons. I have demons like all the time. And it's like, oh shit, why is that coming up? What is going on?
Yeah.
How can I manage it?
Today in the morning, just on the way here, I was listening to a podcast on my way here, and these guys were talking about yeah, like what were they talking now? I just forgot. What were you just saying? The last thing you just mentioned?
So about like waking up early and kind of like dealing with my demons and things like that. Going to the gym and
Oh my God, what was it? Jeez. I cannot believe it literally also.
you are literally.
I know.
I can
But
see.
the previous thing came back to me.
Oh, okay.
Which was you know, like this idea of I believe like kind of like in life we have like two ways that we act, in a way, like the two pills, the blue and the red one. And it's literally like love or fear. And it's like, what do you decide to take? You know, how do you decide to act today? Like from love or from fear? And a lot of the time feels easier from fear, because it is like not, it doesn't require you to get out of your comfort zone, which is like facing that you maybe are feeling like, you know, like overwhelmed or sad, or all these things are happening and you feel like, oh, you have to do so much stuff. Or then you're like, you know what, like I'm gonna come back to myself. Whatever it is that it means to be for me today is gonna happen that way. I'm not a superhero, so I'm maybe not gonna go back.
You're not a superhero.
I'm maybe not going to do all the things that I want. But if I start with a good intention, and if I trust that it's gonna be a good day, then probably I'm gonna get a lot of the stuff that I want to do done, and it's gonna be fine. If I don't finish all the stuff, then I continue tomorrow. But if we, you know, take that kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do it even though it feels hard, waking up at 5 or waking up at 6 even, you know, like it doesn't, it's not easy for a lot of people. It's not easy for me, and that's why I really want to bring it to my life, because I want to find that kind of like the uncomfortable zone. I feel that a lot of the time, even though I feel that honestly, even like going through life feels like kind of like being out of the comfort zone in a way sometimes.
Most of
the time I wanna find that even extra doses, extra, you know, thing that is like, oh, if it's even harder, okay, I need to do it. So I really want to bring that. Like I want to bring those things that make me go to the next level. I want to go to the next level. I want to be better. I want to be happier. I want to feel more alive. I want to bring, you know, love, and keep doing that. Like whatever resonates with me, and be me.
I think it was. I think it might have been Gary Vaynerchuk or maybe Alex Amosi. There's these like entrepreneurs that I follow, and they were saying if you're not feeling uncomfortable every 18 months, you're not growing. So yes, there needs to be a certain time period where you are comfortable in terms of you're not overstressing, you're not being challenged, like you're like kicking goals, but like you're comfortable with where you're at and how things are going.
Yeah.
But if you're not in an uncomfortable situation for a long time period, I feel like sometimes, and there's some truth in that you can get stagnant and stale. And from the point of view of if you're staying in the one position and not pushing forward, then you almost like get left behind from everybody else that's around you. Far too often I've met people who are in that kind of like stationary position and they don't know how to like move forward or like push themselves forward. And so for me, being a creative is actually one of the greatest things because I'm constantly pushing myself. What more can I do creatively?
And as a photographer, I guess like, okay, like move here, you can do this, you know, you're gonna look great. And a lot of us sometimes we're like, oh no, I'm looking like awkward, or maybe I don't know how to, you know, to be in front of the camera. But I guess when you make that person feel like, oh no, you can do it. And, oh, okay, so they start to
Yeah.
have their best shots, I guess, out of
Yeah,
it.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And then we come back to my obsession piece, and like if I get an idea and I'll like obsess about it, I was like, I'm not going to be happy until I get it right.
Let's
you know?
go inside the water and take the photo.
Yeah. So my latest obsession is drones.
Okay.
So like drone photography. So
Yeah,
I've already got
yeah.
4. I've
4
got a
drones.
5th one coming
Oh my
tomorrow.
God, so what's the difference? Like between, sorry, like your face is like, what? I guess, like
How
how.
dare you
I
ask me that
know.
question?
When you talk about like plugins or like, different like scenes, it's like, well, there's so much difference.
There's different
Distance, I guess.
No, like
Distances
just different types of like drones and like
Yeah.
different sizes and speed and like what you're supposed to use, what you can use it for and what you can't use it for.
But
and,
then
like,
if you have 5, you have now?
yeah, the 5th one's coming tomorrow.
So you have 4 at the moment.
4 at the moment.
What are the differences between all of them?
Okay, so the first one I got was a FPV
Yeah.
drone, which is a first-person view, and
Okay.
which is the one where you put the goggles on,
Oh,
and like
that's
it's
intense.
it's fairly
Cool.
big, but that's actually the second one I got of that one because the first one I lost it in 3 days.
What?
Yeah, because it's just, like I was flying
Oh,
it around in it, and then it just
no.
like dropped in the ocean.
Oh, no.
and then the second one is a I guess it's a camera drone.
Yeah.
So again, it's got like a really good camera on it. But I wasn't too happy. I'm not happy with like how the remote situation is set up because you have to attach your phone and like all this, and it just
Okay.
takes too long, you
Mhm.
know. And then my third one was a little mini camera one, and that comes with a really good
Control system?
control system remote, and it's got the screen on there, and it's really good. The
Mm.
problem with that one is that if it's really windy, like
Can like
yeah,
Oh.
like it sometimes like the
so it's
foot,
not as strong,
yeah.
as stable.
My fourth one is a little tiny one that I'm supposed to like I can use like indoors and stuff like that.
Ah, cool.
But the problem with that one is that it's like it's like the difference between an Apple phone and an Android phone.
Yeah.
It's like an Android phone. There's too many bells and whistles. I can't.
I don't know how people do it. Really.
I've had that one for like a year and a half,
Yeah.
and I still can't fly it.
Oh my God. Yeah, because there's, I guess, so many things that you can customize and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, would make things sometimes even like harder.
Yeah, and because I don't have anybody teaching me,
Yeah.
like I have,
yeah.
like obviously everybody's got YouTube and like you can Google stuff, but like it's not actually like 100% accurate. So then I'm just like trial and error until I get it right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so the one that I'm getting tomorrow is another FPV drone with the goggles, but
Yeah.
it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. 5, eh?
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's like when you get like different guitars, like
Yeah.
they are like really different.
Yeah.
Maybe for someone that is not as familiar as with the instruments, then it's like, oh, but second one for what? Like it's not the same thing. It doesn't do the same things.
What's
It's really different.
yeah, so even though I called it like an obsession and I get obsessed about particular things, what I know about myself is that I'm really interested in diving into a lot of detail when I know that it's like good for me.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's not good for me, I'll just be like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For example, I tried to get into playing golf.
Yeah. Okay.
Golf is not good for me. No,
Okay.
I cannot relax.
Mm.
And it's an expensive hobby. And if I'm going to be walking around a golf course, like I get bad hay fever, and I'm like, it's just not a good experience all around.
Okay.
So I'm like, stay away from golf.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't do golf. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel you. When you were talking about like the drone that you had, that it wasn't like kind of like easy to use,
Mm.
and you were like, oh no, like this one is too complicated. I was thinking about one of my brothers, like Nathan, the little one. It's not
Mm.
little though, but it's always gonna be the little one.
Mm.
um he is really intuitive, and he's an amazing artist. He's really, really talented. I really admire him, and he's so adventurous. You know, he's always like doing things that are really excited and like risky and stuff. And my mom is like, "Oh my god," and I'm like, "Yeah, go for it!" Like, you know, because a lot of the time I'm much more like, "Oh no, I have to do this and that," you know. And he's like, "Oh, just go for it." And he found the most beautiful, you know, like experiences and people and really interesting people around. But then like when it comes to doing things, I see that he's very like intuitive, and he can maybe like learn.
Do you mean intuitive?
Sorry, intuitive.
Intuitive.
That's
Yeah.
that's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Intuitive. Exactly. So then like he is maybe producing a song, and he will do things that maybe are unusual to do, but then they just sound good. So it's like, oh, it's really cool, because he's just like trying what it feels right for him, instead of like, oh, I'm gonna do exactly what that person is doing. Yeah, okay, this is like the best, I don't know, setting, or the best like a mix of sounds, whatever, you know. And he can do that thing, like go through like whatever is going working well for him, or when like using an instrument or something like that, yeah, on his own, instead of like going and look for like a video or something where they go like the explanation and stuff. But I found like in my situation, for a lot of things I'm like that, but
You're
then
intuitive.
yeah, absolutely. But for yeah, for things like maybe learning something specific on the guitar, I feel that I need someone there. So I have like a person, a friend of mine, who is an incredible musician. And when we get together and he's explaining me a scale or a movement or a pattern that I want to do, it's so much easier for me than putting the video and repeat it. And I do it sometimes because it's helpful, really, really helpful. I have found like amazing lessons and stuff like online. But then like having the real person, you know, taking the guitar and like putting his fingers, no, like Ali, not here, but here. I'm like, you know, or just like seeing it like in front of me, and it's like, yeah, it's real, you know, instead of like in the video that you don't know what's going on.
I think it's it's definitely something, I think, to do with the your learning capability or your learning capacity. Like, so I'm intuitive as well.
Yeah.
But I know that I become intuitive through experience and repetition.
Yeah, same.
So
I need to repeat it to do
yeah,
it.
and I think there's a level of it's once you have that understanding of your learning style, if you can apply that in every new thing that you learn, I think it becomes easier and easier.
Yeah.
And through that process of it being easier, you develop your intuitive skills in what you enjoy doing and what you don't enjoy doing, you know, and then it just ends up being this this example of, oh my God, you're like good at everything. No, I'm not good at everything.
I learned your way through it.
I've learnt my way to develop how to pick up things easily.
Yeah, which is different.
And by picking up things easily, it may look like I'm good at everything, but in actual fact, I'm just better at like accepting what I'm trying to do and feeling my way through it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that I react like that with a lot of different things in my life. You know, like I don't know, like I don't like much cooking, for example. And then when it comes to cooking, I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I like to do it when it's like perhaps like for people, and even like sometimes not that much. I don't know why. Like, honestly, it's not my favorite thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
I prefer to bake and to do like sweet things, really, to make
Right.
sweets, like desserts and stuff. I used to do that a lot when I was little with my mom. Maybe that's right. That's why. But then when it comes to cooking, I'm a little bit of a bitch kind of. So when I'm like cooking, see
How
if
do you
someone
be a bitch cooking?
so if someone tells me like, oh, but you should do this, I'm like, so do it your way. In a way.
Wow.
Like I can stand it for some reason, and I'm kind of like I'm learning. For example, with my brother living here, he cooks really nice. Like he cooks so good, and I feel that it's not like he doesn't put like in an effort to it. It's just like he was burned like this, like he came to this world with this gift in a way. And then like whatever he cooks is like beautiful. For me to make it good, I feel that I need to find my way through it and just do the way I want to do it, not following anyone, just like doing my thing. So if someone comes and says like, oh, but did you add salt before? And I'm like,
Shut up.
I
Shut
stop.
up.
Like my brain is like I just don't know what to do now. In a way.
God damn, I need to go to the toilet again. I drank way too much water. I think I drank like a liter and a half of water before you got here because I just felt like so dehydrated. And I'm like,
maybe the change of the weather.
I'm paying for it now. I think I'm good. So your brother makes really good, like he's good at cooking.
Yeah, he's good. So I feel like maybe maybe I feel a bit like, oh, I'm really bad at cooking. So when someone tells me something, I feel like shit. I don't know.
Oh.
I need to heal that. So I'm really grateful that he is here teaching me all these new things of myself.
The thing is like cooking.
Myself.
Cooking is it can be creative as well, right?
Yeah.
And like
I like to do that, but people don't let me be creative. They want to do it this way. When I say people, I mean my brother.
That is so funny. He doesn't let you be creative.
No, I'm joking with the cooking.
With the cooking.
Yeah, but no, I mean, he's right, honestly, because he knows more about cooking. So I should be like, oh, thank you, and like add a little bit of salt. But for some reason, I'm like, so then you cook now. Because he comes to the kitchen and is like, no, you haven't put this and that. And I'm like, and it's like, yeah, I know. I'm maybe a lazy person and I just want to do it that way. But, but it's my way and I like that way.
There must be something with your ego in that then.
True. I know.
And the fact that...
And I know, I really know, and I hate it because I know I want to remove that from my life.
I mean, your ego can serve a good purpose.
True.
If you know that...
The right amount.
The right amount.
To
but
build
also,
your worth.
Yeah, but also if
increase,
it's serving you in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it helps a lot when you are perhaps building your boundaries and and when you are knowing about your worth and things like, saying no, for example. That was a big thing for me when gigging, because, when I first arrived and stuff, I was, of course, starting here with my music, so no one knew my work and stuff. So I was getting paid for gigs like nothing, And I was like, it's fine. People are starting to, to know me, and I'm just starting here, whatever. But then, like, when it was like 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, and then, like, people are offering like nothing to gig. I'm like, no way. Like, I cannot say yes. If I say yes, then I'm not valuing myself, the hours that I put to rehearse, the hours that I put to memorize, the hours that I put to create the performance, like I'm not valuing myself. So maybe there, I guess, is a good, no, like, I'm sorry. Maybe you need someone more suitable for what you need, not me.
It's serving your purpose
Absolutely.
in order to ensure that you continually value your worth.
Yes, exactly, yeah. But in the cooking situation, maybe it's not the good one.
God damn, why is your brother so good at cooking?
I don't
Is he
know.
a chef?
I'm jealous. No, well,
He just learnt from your mum.
I think it's actually interesting. I'm not sure because my mom cooks beautifully, but they cook really different.
Oh.
So I'm not sure. I think it was so the brother that I'm talking about is Jonathan, which is the oldest one. And he lived a lot of his life in an island called San Andres, where we all grew up. But then, like, he has a different father. And the family of his father were really good at cooking, are really good at cooking. All the flavors, all the things are amazing because they have, like, this influence from the Lebanon, I think it is. So, like, all their celebration and stuff were, like, surrounded by beautiful food. So I'm assuming he picked up all that growing up. At home, I was more interested in, like, listening to my father playing music or, like, putting stuff, and my mom painting and things like that. So I was more interested on that. When we were cooking with my mom, was mostly for like for fun recipes to do cupcakes or desserts and stuff like that. So I'm obsessed with with sugar. No anymore. Now I eat healthy. Tried, yeah. So maybe I didn't pick up that because when my mom was cooking for me, it was like, oh, that's something, like she's just doing it for us and it's beautiful and we sit together and we enjoy like what she was making for us, or if someone else was cooking for us. But I don't know, like I never learned how to properly cook stuff, I guess. So then maybe it's fear as well coming through. I was like,
and maybe because you'll like potentially depend on other people to do that for you.
Yeah, probably.
Oh my God, what is going on with that camera? That's twice now.
It just stuff?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think it's because the cat.
Oh, really? Maybe he moves the camera.
No, he's chewed on the little plug.
Oh, no.
Goddamn bastard.
So cute. Look at him.
I was gonna say like maybe it's also because you've like depended on other people to do the cooking, and you didn't see it as important because you were so interested in the creative side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that. And then like when I was living by myself and stuff, always cooking was more like something I needed to do because I need to eat and that. And I learned to cook whatever was good for me, you know, and the way I like it and all those things. But then it's not like I have like this incredible different way of doing things and recipes and stuff. No, I do like I guess like the basic things that I like.
Yeah.
And thanks God, like again, like my partner cooks beautifully. So I've been learning like
that's good.
What is good for me and what I like to eat. I eat mostly vegan, and all the recipes that he knew were kind of vegan.
You're one of those.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is amazing. So I start to understand a little bit more, I guess, and learn more recipes. Because when I was living by myself, I was just doing like a lot of salads and a lot of like things like that for me, but easy things. And it's what I'm saying. This is not like now when I'm home and I'm trying to do these dishes, my brother comes and says, oh, add salt, and I'm preparing this amazing dish. No, it's probably like rice and potatoes, and he's like, oh, it's not good enough, and I'm like, ah! But you're right, I should listen, because if it's really good, then I can learn. And I was like, sometimes it's hard for me to say those things in, I don't know, like, like in front of the person. So like I reflect, then I go to my room, it's like, oh, I'm gonna just send him a text, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like, because I know I get a little bit like, and I feel bad, so I'm like, I'm sorry that I talk a little bit bad, like, like I was just, I don't know, busy in my head or whatever. I promise I'm gonna put salt next time before I do the pasta or whatever, because I know that if it will taste better, then it's better,
So other than cooking, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh.
Yeah. So what advice would you give, like, 15-year-old Alethia?
Wow. Probably to never forget how important it is to be present and enjoying the moment. Because when I was 15, I think all my teens really, I was really hard with myself, and I was like thinking kind of like a old good woman, sorry. And I was just obsessed obsessed about work, like, oh, I need to find my way to be the artist that I want, and like to be recognized, and like, I don't know, crazy, like from an early age. So now I will perhaps tell her, like, you know what, like the most beautiful thing about music is that makes you happy and connect with others. So just like enjoy it at any time, like, at all times, and like be present and enjoy the people that is around you all the time. Like take as much as you can from the now, because it will never come back.
I think it's a hard piece of advice to accept when you're 15.
Yeah.
Because you would have been so, I mean, you mentioned that your dad couldn't ever turn the switch off and you were always like doing things.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when you're at that age and you've got that behavior or a pattern of like always doing things, you're like a rolling ball that kind of like just keeps rolling through things.
Yeah.
You know, the I was a little bit the same.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's the thing.
Because my experiences are the ones that have made me who I am today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really like about life, I think. And it's like, it makes me realize that all the hard, situation and all the hard things that I experience are probably the most important ones. So if you ask me, when you even asked me that question, I was thinking, well, I don't know if I will even tell her to change anything because all the things that I had to experience brought me here today. So I think they meant to be that way. I think I don't know, like life works really, I don't know, very
deliberate.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe things need to be the way they happened. I will not change my past. I'm really grateful for my past and for my mistakes and for all those things, because make me realize, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. So it helped me they helped me to become a better person.
And through the act of constantly like working through things and doing a lot of things when you're young, it's faster for you to then realize like what you want to be doing, I think.
Repeat that again.
It's faster for you to realize what you want to be doing. So when you're younger, like for me, for example, so when I was younger, I worked in a Japanese kitchen. I studied electrical engineering. I did security. I worked for a stage and lighting company doing welding and putting stages together. I worked at Blockbuster Video. And then I fell in love and fell out of love, and like,
of course,
she left me and blah, 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 like all this type of stuff. And then I did night clubbing like crazy for like 2.5 years.
Wow.
And that like just changed my life and my whole perspective on things. And then I came here to Melbourne in like 2001. And then I got serious and I knuckled down, and I worked in banking and finance for 12 years.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then during that time, like I got married and had 2 kids, and then I left banking and finance, and like I did like consulting work, and I've been consulting now for a while, and like went through a divorce, and my kids are like teenagers and like all this type of stuff, and then also through that time period did like photography. And so the I think it's interesting, like the when you're young, it's okay to do lots of different things.
Yeah.
Because then you try to like work out like what you want to do or who you want to be.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so
probably that's why for me it felt like so like like intense when I have like that kind of like breakdown in a way through COVID.
Yeah.
Because since I was like as I said before, like 6 years old, something I always was thinking that I was gonna be an artist, and I got kind of like perhaps obsessed in a bad way, not like having a reason why, just to be an artist, but just so I kind of like like maybe I kind of like found in a way my worth on like if I'm this artist that everyone wants me to be, then like people are gonna look for me and they're gonna be there for me and stuff. So then when I realized like no, it's not about that, it's about like what I feel in my heart, what is that I should bring, then that's why it felt like so like like liberating, because I realized that for a really long period of time, since I was like young and all my teens, I didn't try like as much of like doing all the other things, because I was just doing singing, dancing, acting, all those three things, not stopping away. And perhaps I could have like try other things, so I don't know, and maybe those things would have like bring more inspiration to those artistic and stuff or whatever. Well, I don't know what would have happened. But yeah, it's interesting because as you were saying, like you experience like all those different things and try all those different I don't know, like
all these different avenues and like things that you wanted to attempt.
I didn't did that when I was like that young, I started to do that a little bit later on, like in my 20s.
But that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess they meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I think the lack of initiative kills people's like creativity or like their purpose and things like that. Like you can do anything at any age. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like the guy who started KFC, he started when he was 65.
Yeah. So many incredible people.
Yeah. Harrison Ford, who was in like all the original Star Wars movies and Indiana Jones and all of that.
Yes,
he started acting when he was 42.
Really late.
He was making wood furniture beforehand. So it's kind of like,
yeah, there's not a right age for anything.
There's not a right age for anything. And I think, most people will be like, oh, but I've spent so much time in university and like I'm doing, this particular job and I've been doing it for a while. That's it for me. It's like, no, like you can do more.
Absolutely.
You can do more creatively. You can connect with more people. Like, and that's, I guess, that's the advantage of like today's day and age and like technology and stuff, right?
Yeah,
like,
where
like
you can put hands to different things.
Like I do all the podcasts by myself, no one else, right? I do all editing, I do all of that, I manage all of that. But then I also know that sometimes that can be a little bit too much for people. Like, they don't operate at that high level of like complexity or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think what you just said about starting, starting things
at any age.
At any age. It's so true, like, and we sometimes I stop myself sometimes when I have like those thoughts about like, oh, maybe I'm too old, to do this thing, and I'm like, I'm not actually old at all. It's literally just a thought, and it's like, no, wait, that's not true. I'm super young, and whatever it is that I want to experience, I can experience.
I have to sometimes stop myself, but it's not that I'm too old; it's that I'm too optimistic.
Yeah, like me sometimes.
Yeah, I'm too optimistic, and I think,
But you said it in a negative way, do you?
yeah, but like I'm always like, oh, why not? Oh, yeah, that could be like this, Like I'm always seeing the positive side of life rather than the risks or the bad side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I have this view that because I've gone through a lot of hardship, I know that it is all about perspective,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
a coin has two sides. It's still a coin, but it's heads or tails, whichever one you want.
Yeah,
It's
the one that you want
it's
to look
correct.
at.
Yeah, and so if you can take um, every opportunity to see the positive side to it, then you've got a better chance of like, I don't know, like changing your perspective or like changing or like
Or finding happiness. Happy
yeah,
happiness.
yeah, finding happiness. That's right. Because at the end of the day, that's why we're all here. We just all want to be happy.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's it for me really. Like
Mm,
I want to be happy, and I will want to find that way to connect with my way of happiness, like whatever
mm,
like feels right for me.
mm,
And when we are true to ourselves, and when we listen to what we feel and we reflect and we are doing like the job, I guess, then I think it's more likely to be happy, because you are
mm,
putting your part, you're doing it, you are going through the things that are painful and the things that feel like a bit like hard, but then you are realizing and reflecting, oh yeah, it's just because of this, okay, so I need to maybe change a little bit of here,
mm.
leave the ego aside, and you will find your way.
Talk me through your songwriting process. Do you write a little bit every day? Do you dedicate like 5 hours a week? Do you how do you go about writing the songs that you've create?
Well, I think for each song is different in a way. Like if we're talking about songwriting in general, perhaps well, it's a really interesting question actually. And today someone was asking me about that through Instagram randomly, and I was it's interesting that people are interested in that.
Mm,
Um, and I guess well, how what I do through the weeks, it changes a lot depending of what is that I want to achieve through my week.
mm-hmm.
So sometimes, even though I would love to dedicate every day a little bit of time to songwriter, I decide maybe to put it into rehearsing if I have a show coming, for example. So that week, probably I will not write much.
Mm,
But then if through like my month or something, I have like my goals to, I'm gonna put like this a couple of songs that I want to finish, then I will try to find perhaps like a slot in my schedule to do it.
mm,
And sometimes honestly comes like naturally, like sometimes it's not like thinking, oh, this is in my calendar and I have today some writing time. It's just that I really really feel to write. So then sometimes I just like, no matter what's going on, and like, oh, I just need to put this idea because I want to write it down.
mm,
So it depends. Lately, if I'm really really honest, it's being more like that, more
mm,
like what's going on the week, and seeing a little bit like monthly,
mm,
what I'm planning for the month. And is when I see like, okay, so these are the things that I want to do. For example, there's a couple of auditions that are coming in acting stuff for me, so I
mm.
decided to dedicate a little bit of that. So
Okay.
I wasn't writing that much, for example.
Yeah.
But then 2 weeks ago, I was writing with a friend of mine a song that we just finished and mastered, and um, we were doing like sessions every 2 days, 2 days a week.
That's really cool.
So it depends. But if we're talking about, for example, a process of how I come to write one song, it is very, very different again. So for example, if I'm writing a song, sometimes the way that I start is by just playing maybe something on the guitar, creating perhaps like even like 4 chords, and I just repeat them. I love looping for some reason. Coming back to looping, having like a loop where I can like experiment a little bit, experiment,
Yeah.
and then I just put like my pen and paper and start to write ideas that come to my mind. But at other times, I really have this. Sometimes I have like a message that I really want to give. For example, when we were writing this song with my friend, it's called Smoky Mirror, and I think we're gonna be releasing it at the end of November.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah. So, for example, for this song, I had a little bit of like a rough time during August because I was gonna be releasing my new album, and I was like with so much stuff to finish before the launch. That was like huge for me. I really wanted to have a beautiful concert and have something really professional. So I was pushing myself a lot and trying to do as much as I could, because I was kind of like, as you, trying to do everything in a way, or at least directing all the little details and stuff. So then like when I finished with that, coming back to the song, when I finished with all those things, then I was like, no, it's now a time to come back to write and all those things. So then like when I met my friend to write, I realized that I was at the time. I remember that I was reading a book that was called the Four Agreements, and then in the book they talk about the smoky mirror, which is like I guess like in a way an illusion that we experience sometimes. And the author was saying that he was considering himself as a smoky mirror, because he was able to realize that we all are one, and he felt that he was connected with everyone. And he was like, oh, how beautiful, like I'm you, you and me. And I love that idea because I truly believe that. But then he was saying that some people didn't think that way, and they were like, what do you mean, like I'm so different, like I'm not you, I'm me. And then he was like, wow, like how is that people cannot see that we are all one? So then he was saying that it is because some people, or we experience that at different times in our life, we have like this kind of like smoke in front of us, or this like haze that is like fear at times. So when we have like fear around us, we are not being genuine and we are not being ourselves. So then that's why you cannot connect as genuinely with someone else. And then people don't see like, oh yeah, I've been there as well. Yeah, like, you know, like, because you are just scared and you are like just, you know, like not seeing reality as it is. So then I thought that would be beautiful to bring to a song and to put it into music, because a lot of the time what stops us is fear. What people are going to think when they listen to this, or like maybe I shouldn't, you know, sing this way because it's maybe not popular, or this is not the music that is like popular nowadays.
I think it's I think it's relevant for almost anything in life. Like, I think people get fearful when they don't understand.
Yeah.
Or they're scared of like the unknown, you know? And again, it just comes back to this piece around trying to keep yourself open.
Yeah.
Try to keep yourself open to accepting whatever the universe throws at you. And if we can do that, then we're giving ourselves more of a chance to be positive and successful.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really beautiful how you kind of like put that into a song.
Yeah. So then like when we were writing it, I was obsessed on, again talking about obsession, obsessed with the idea of the smoky mirror. And I was like, oh, this is so beautiful, because in my life I've experienced it so many times. I'm doing something and it's like, it's not gonna be good, and then I'm like, wait, like no way, like who cares if I'm enjoying it? let's do it. Like whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't need. Like I think what helps me a lot of the time is not thinking that I'm gonna make this song and then like I'm gonna publish it and like I'm gonna like release it or whatever. No, it's just I want to get it out of my system and to express this emotion the way it comes, and then later if I want to put it out, then I will share it and stuff. Sometimes there's songs that are really really intimate that maybe they don't feel right to share, or at least right now, that I maybe will share one day or whatever. But it's just, I guess, the approach of being genuine and just trusting that if it feels right, then it's something that you should give it a try and you should do.
I think sometimes it's hard for people to be genuine. Be honest like with themselves and be honest with other people because of the masks that they wear or the smoke and mirrors. You know?
Exactly, because we are fragile as well. So we are kind of
fragile.
Like,
like we're fragile, but we're resilient at the same time.
I know.
I'm like,
we're everything.
What the fuck are we?
No, that's absolutely right. Yeah, because and it is important, I guess, to have again like that kind of ego thing in a way, because we need to, like build our self-worth and know that we are valuable, so then we deserve respect and we deserve love and all those things. But we cannot like be all the time, like covering and protecting ourselves and like carrying like this thing that is protecting us from like being hurt, because then we are not going to see the other side and realize that like I can be there, like I'm you and me, like you are trying your best as well, and we are just humans in this world. That's
are we humans or are we aliens?
Well, I feel a lot of time that we are actually aliens now that you said that.
I feel like sometimes we are.
Yeah.
In some weird way.
Yeah. Yeah, so, as cats, mystical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got an album coming out, or the EP's coming out in November?
I already released the album. So that was in August. I was just like a bit like, because it was gonna come out. So I just released my new album. It's called Alethia, like myself.
How can people get it?
They can go to either Bandcamp if they want to purchase the vinyl. It's my first vinyl, so I'm really, really, really happy for that. Really, it was so special to have it in my hands.
Amazing.
And if you want to perhaps, merch and stuff, like you can also get it through Bandcamp. Otherwise, you can go to Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, and then have a listen to the album. Yeah. You can find me as Alethia Official on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, how can people contact you? So Alethia Official.
Alethia Official on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. And then like on platforms like Spotify and all the music platforms as Alethia, all with capital letters. So Alethia.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Alethia, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. It's just, I can't wait to hear the EP when it comes out. And I'll have a listen to the album, and I might even get the vinyl so it can add to my collection.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I invite you to connect in the journey of this album that I put out.
Yeah.
And about the second week of November, I will be putting a little bit of information here or there about this EP that we are putting together with my friend, where Smoking Mirror will come. And thank you so much again for having me. I love talking and talk about this.
And what's happening next year for you?
Well, next year is all about performing. Mostly.
Yeah, okay.
Collaborating for sure, because I love that. And there's a lot of collaborations that are coming with different artists from Australia and from Colombia as well.
Yeah.
A lot of like Afrobeats and a little bit of bolero and son cubano, things like that with other artists. But
That's
definitely
cool.
I'm going to be performing on festivals and all that. Yeah.
I just had to take a quick selfie.
No, that's okay.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you for having me. It was really, really fun.
And let's see if we can get those sales up for your album
Yeah,
and your
that
EP.
would be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for the support.
Thanks everyone for listening in. Make sure you hit subscribe and that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Peace out.
Thank you.